I want to ask you about that. He actually chose to be there. Yeah. He's already been found liable for defaming E. Jean Carroll, who accused him of raping her 30 years ago. A jury found him liable for sexual abuse. And this trial that he's attending today is about damages that he must pay her. You're the only woman in this race. How do you feel about your party's front runner being held liable for sexual abuse?
I mean, first of all, I haven't paid attention to his cases, and I'm not a lawyer. All I know is that he's innocent until proven guilty, and when he's proven guilty and he's sitting in a courtroom, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You've got investigations on Trump and Biden.
But a lot of people, forgive me, but a lot of people in the Republican Party blow it all off and say that it's all a witch hunt. And
because I think some of the cases have been political. This one I haven't looked at, but look, if he's found guilty, then he needs to pay the price. He needs to do what he's supposed to. Every one of these cases, they need to be heard out. He needs to defend himself. If he is found guilty, he's going to pay the price. If he's not found guilty, then we move forward. What I will tell you is I'm focused on the economy, the border, and education, and getting our country back on track. If he's sitting in a courtroom, that goes back to what I'm saying. We can't continue to be distracted. We can't continue to be in chaos. We have a country to save.
And Governor, what you've seen, you're both Governor Sununu, what you've seen is that these court cases have, in the short term at least, benefited him with Republican caucus goers, with Republican primary voters, at least in polls. So that's part of the reason why he plays it up and he goes to this hearing today that he doesn't have to be at.
Look, obviously he plays the victim every time. I'll say this on the court cases, the average American voter, it's massively confusing. They're not following them, and they're not going to the ballot box saying, but I'm going to vote because of that case and that potential outcome. That's not really part of the equation. People want to know how you're going to save their Social Security. They want to know how you're going to get inflation down. They want to know, my goodness, I could have an accountant in the White House that actually has fiscal responsibility and treats my hard-working dollar with the respect that it deserves. Trump never did that. Trump borrowed $7 trillion. That's inflation, everybody. Inflation comes from one thing, overspending and overprinting money in Washington. He has to be held accountable. Biden has made it 10 times worse, there's no question. But as a Republican, he didn't fulfill on the mission that a lot of us sent him to Washington to do.
As you've been describing, Hampshire is a little bit different, a lot different when it comes to the demographics. Independents can vote here, for example. It's different from all the other contests going forward. Are you confident that even if you do well here, you'll have the staying power, particularly in a Republican electorate that voted the way it did for Donald Trump so overwhelmingly?
Are you talking about South Carolina?
I'm talking about South Carolina. Well, let's start with South Carolina.
Yeah, no, because, I mean, what I can tell you is South Carolina is the state that elected the first female minority governor in history. So I know, South Carolina knows what I did. We turned that state around, and they're very grateful. But South Carolinians are tough. They want you to earn it. They want you to fight for it. They're watching what I did in Iowa. They're going to watch what happens in New Hampshire. And if we can be strong in New Hampshire, we're going to be even stronger in South Carolina. It's state by state. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. But it's one that I'm going to continue to be in. We continue to move up in the polls. Everybody else is going down. And we're going to end up saving this country. We have to.
Governor Haley, Governor Sununu, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, state, South Carolina doesn't vote for a month. Did he just go to troll you?
I mean, look, it really doesn't matter to me why he went there. I'm sure he had a great time. South Carolina's a great state. But he's in single digits in South Carolina and single digits in New Hampshire. He's been invisible in both states. He is not my concern. I'm going after Trump. That's what I'm saying. And I'm doing that not for personal reasons, but the fact that I don't want my kids to live like this. At some point, something's got to give. People are tired of the division and the chaos. We can't go through 4 more years of chaos. We won't survive it.
When you say you're going after Trump, is your message going to change? Is it going to sharpen here more than you have in the past, given the fact that you are much closer, as you said, in the polls, all of the polls, here in New Hampshire than you were?
Well, I think you have to look at, when there were a lot of candidates, your focus is kind of getting the field down. But now, when we know it's a head-to-head, you heard me last night say, look, we have a choice. Are we going to do more of the same, or are we going to go forward? And more of the same is not just Donald Trump, it's Joe Biden. Both of them are exactly the same. They're both in their 80s. They both put us trillions of dollars in debt. They both are dealing with investigations that are distractions. They both constantly are showing us they have no vision going forward. This is not about personalities. This is about the fact that America deserves better. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, look, I think, when I'm out there are two issues that people are driving on. Number one is Social Security, right? It's going bankrupt in 10 years. That's an automatic cut in your benefits coming, about 22% in 10 years. Trump says he'll do nothing to save it. We have a lot of elderly in the state. We're one of the older states in the country. Nikki's the only one talking about how to shore that up, make sure you don't lose benefits, and make sure that we're going to fix Social Security. That's a huge issue with folks. The other one is economic discipline, right? We're a very frugal state. We don't have taxes here. We don't want you taking our money, and we sure as heck don't trust Washington spending our money. Nikki's the only one saying states have to have more control. Voters have to have more say. In the live free or die state, that goes a long way.
Governor Sununu mentioned Social Security. My colleague Kristen Holmes was just reporting that Donald Trump is already going up with new ads hitting you on Social Security because you are saying that something needs to be done, and on immigration, which is obviously a very important issue.
I mean, both of those, they're false ads. And he started spending millions even before Iowa happened because he saw what we see. I mean, first of all, there's a border ad that says I'm against the wall. No, actually, I said you can't just do a wall. You've got to go and defund sanctuary cities. You've got to put troops on the ground. You've got to go back to remain in Mexico. I gave all that. When it comes to Social Security, he's saying I want to kill Social Security. It's quite the opposite. What I've said is I want to make sure that there's something there for our kids, and I want to make sure everybody gets what they're promised. And so you do that by acknowledging that there is an issue. You don't put your head in the sand like the other candidates have said they're going to do. You go as the accountant me saying, get in front of it. Let's go to the kids in their 20s, like mine, and tell them we're going to change the rules for you. We're going to change the retirement age to reflect life expectancy for you. Change the cost of living increases to be increases on inflation. Let's expand Medicare Advantage plans. Let's limit benefits on the mega wealthy. That's how we'll get Social Security back on track.
You said this morning there have been 5 debates in the Republican primary so far, and the next one you do will either be against Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Just to put a finer point on it, you're not going to do a debate here in New Hampshire unless Donald Trump is on the stage.
I mean, that's who I'm running against. That's who I want. That's, at the end of the day, he's the front runner. He's the one that I'm 7 points away from. He's the one that we're fighting for. There is nobody else I need to debate. I have had 5 strong debates and have done plenty of them. He can't hide forever. At some point, he's got to get on the debate
But you
stage.
told ABC put out a statement saying that they want you to tell them officially by 5 o'clock today. Have you already done that?
They are very aware that I've said, is Donald Trump going to be on that stage? They don't need to be asking me. They need to be asking him. If he's on that stage, I'm there.
Is that the right move?
Absolutely. Look, absolutely. This is a one-on-one race. Donald Trump is chicken. He won't get on the stage. He's afraid to be called and ask questions. He doesn't want to engage with voters. He's assuming that it will all turn out fine. Now, when he realizes it's not turning out fine, that's why the attacks come. They'll throw anything they can at Nikki. But with her background and experience, she's tough as nails. I'm sure if Donald Trump wanted to debate, Nikki would be there literally right now. And if he weren't so chicken, he'd get on the stage. Man up.
Where he all that was pretty funny when you came up and you didn't realize we were
I
starting
had
the show.
no idea
That's
you
okay.
were doing that, but we're always thrilled to be in a diner and talk to some people. It's a great day in New Hampshire. We're super excited.
Thank you. Good to see you, Governor.
See you. Great.
I do want to start with what happened in Iowa last night. Donald Trump won 98 of the 99 counties. He won registered independents, college-educated men and women, non-college educated men and women, the cities, the suburbs, the rural areas. Can there be any doubt that right now the Republican Party is Donald Trump's party?
Look, I mean, Iowa's always been a pro-Trump state, and we knew that going in. I was thrilled at the fact that we just wanted to come out strong. And the idea that we were able to come out of there strong enough to come into this state was all we needed. Because we knew if we could do that, then it's a 2-person race coming into New Hampshire. And it's a 2-person race going into South Carolina. So it's exactly where we want to be, and it's exactly what we expected. We always knew that Trump was going to get a high number there.
That big? I mean,
Yeah.
that's historic.
No, I mean, I think it's Iowa. It's a very...
There's effectively only 3 people in the race, right? It's not one of these races where there's 7 people in the race. He's effectively the incumbent, if you think of it that way. So the incumbent president barely could get 50% of his own base voters. I don't know. I think that's a huge opportunity for America saying, let's move forward with something new.
But you know, we're putting Iowa in the rearview mirror. I mean, now it's New Hampshire and it's go time. We've got a week to go and do that. But I've been campaigning here for 11 months now. And so we're ready to kind of just finish this off and get it, and we're a stone's throw away from it.
Governor, is New Hampshire going to correct what Iowa did last night?
Look, Iowa's Iowa, New Hampshire's New Hampshire. We're always forward-looking. Let's say that. New Hampshire is always forward-looking into the next generation of leadership for this country. On the Republican side, on the Democrat side, this is just always what we do. And this year, everyone's galvanizing because you've never needed it more, right? We're so tired of the same old thing, the chaos, the drama on both sides. Everyone wants this to be the Nikki Haley race. And this is our opportunity. America is waiting to say, oh, wait, it's a one-on-one race. Oh, wait, it's not a fait accompli for Donald Trump. Why is he attacking her so much? Why is he so scared? Why won't he get on a debate stage? I mean, Nikki Haley would debate Donald Trump right here, right now, today, if he had the guts to do it. So he's scared. He knows that it's a one-on-one race, and he knows that if you have that mentality going into Super Tuesday, anything's possible.
Can I just push back? Because if I'm Donald Trump, I look at those results and say, it's not a one-on-one race. It's me, and then everybody else is so far in my rearview mirror, I can't even see them.
Dana, what are the polls showing here in New Hampshire? What are the polls showing in South Carolina? And look at the big poll that matters. 75% of Americans don't want a Trump-Biden rematch. The majority of Americans don't want either one of them. I mean, are we really at the point that we're going to put two 80-year-olds as our options? I mean, with all due respect, that's fine, but we need to move forward. And the fact that both of these guys put us trillions of dollars in debt, ran up our inflation, and our kids are never going to forgive them for that. And then you go a step further and look at what they're doing. While we're trying to move forward with issues that matter on inflation and education and border and law and order and these wars around the world, what are they talking about? They're having to deal with investigations. They're talking about the past. They're not moving forward, and they're not showing a vision.
So that argument certainly has resonance when you look at the broader electorate. But the process is what it is, and you have to win the Republican primary first. And just last night, as an example, when you look at the demographics, the only area that you won is with moderates and independents, sort of the more liberal side of the spectrum, and even some who aren't Republicans. How do you win a Republican contest when that is the area in which you're winning?
I mean, first of all, I think it's interesting that there were 14 candidates in the race. We were at 2%. Y'all didn't give us the time of day. And we come out of there with 20% and come into New Hampshire where there's like a 6-point difference between me and Trump. And we're going to talk about how do you do it? We're going to do it here in New Hampshire. We're going to do it in South Carolina.
Governor DeSantis is coming here tonight for a CNN town hall, but he just did an event in Governor Haley's state. What does that tell you as governor of New Hampshire?
He knows, again, he's going to come into the New Hampshire and try to placate, but he knows he's in single digits. It's embarrassing. He's pulled all his money. He's pulled all his people. He hasn't been here in a month. So he's given up on New Hampshire. He made that very clear, which is why, again, it's a two-person race between Nikki and Trump. So he doesn't want to be completely embarrassed, I suppose, and so he's going to come up and do a town hall here and there. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have the ground game. He doesn't have the connection. He's not doing the retail stops, engaging with voters, taking any question at any time over the next 6 or 7 days. That's exactly what Nikki's going to do, because it's not about Donald Trump.